Welcome to Volume 2. The story of Adrian and Gina continues. Dear beautiful family, I'm so happy you came back to watch this series. If you love romance, passion, emotional depth, and calm, heartfelt storytelling, please follow, subscribe, and share this with someone you love. Voglio vedere la mia bellissima famiglia. It means, I want to see my beautiful family. And if this story touched your heart, please comment below. I am a part of the Mrs. Gina love story family. I'd love to welcome you properly. This story asks a powerful question. What happens when a powerful man finds love unexpectedly, forbidden, beyond his world, outside his class, and falls hard anyway? May all your prayers be answered. May you experience love in every area of your life. May love find you wherever you are. May God bless you richly. I pray that His blessings cover you and your family now and always. This is a Christian-inspired story filled with meaningful moments, unexpected twists, and surprises that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Without further delay, here, let's begin. The night felt almost too still, like the ocean itself was holding its breath. The stars hung low above them, watching. The calm pressed in around them, heavy and borrowed, as if the world already knew this peace wasn't meant to last. She felt it before she understood it. This moment is fragile, her inward voice whispered. The kind you don't get to keep untouched. The kind that disappears the second you relax. They swayed slowly, the music fading into the sound of the water. Her head rested against his chest, and that's when she noticed it. His heartbeat wasn't steady anymore. It skipped, then raced. Why is his heart beating like that? She wondered. He never seems rattled. Not ever. Adrian noticed it too. Get it together, his inward voice warned. You don't lose control. You don't let moments like this turn into confessions. He ran a hand through his already disheveled hair, fingers dragging back harder than necessary, grounding himself. This wasn't how things usually went for him. He didn't unravel. He didn't hesitate. This is where you stop. His mind pressed. Say nothing. Keep it clean. But standing there with her, control felt dishonest. He exhaled, then again, slower and deliberate, like he was bracing himself. His grip on her tightened just slightly before loosening, giving her space in case she wanted to step away. If she pulls back, let her, he told himself. Don't corner her. Don't rush this. Gina, he said quietly. The way he said her name made her lift her head immediately. That sounded different, her inward voice noted. That sounded like a warning, or a beginning. Yes, she asked. He looked at her, really looked at her, and for the first time since she'd known him, he looked unsure. That terrified him. I move markets. I build companies, his inward voice said. So why does one woman undo me like this? When this was proposed, he began, then stopped. Say it right, he told himself. Don't hide behind language. He ran his hand through his hair again, pacing half a step away before turning back to her. I told myself this would be clean, strategic, contained. Her chest tightened. This isn't about business, she realized. This is about him. I don't do impulse, he continued. I don't choose things I can't control. His jaw tightened. And then you walked into my life. She swallowed. I didn't mean to, her inward voice whispered. I wasn't trying to be chosen. I chose you before I understood why, he said quietly. And that scared the hell out of me. Her breath caught. He didn't choose me because I was safe. I've been around powerful women, he went on. Women who perform, who calculate every move. He shook his head. You weren't doing any of that. She felt the sting behind her eyes. I was just trying to survive. I didn't know anyone was watching. You didn't look like someone who wanted something from me, he said. You looked like someone who knew who she was, even if the world hadn't caught up yet. Something inside her shifted. He saw me, not a version, Me. He stepped closer, not touching her. Don't crowd her, his inward voice warned. Let her choose this too. I chose you, he said, because you didn't need me. His voice dropped, and somehow that made me want you more. Her heart slammed. I don't have to earn this. He laughed once under his breath, almost disbelieving himself. I told myself it was respect, curiosity. His hand clenched. But that was a lie. Stop talking, his mind warned. This is dangerous. But he didn't stop. He met her eyes, heart pounding now, too loud to ignore. Gina, he said, rough and unguarded, I love you. The words hung between them, heavy and irreversible. Her breath vanished. He loves me. This isn't pretend. This isn't strategic. He ran his hand through his hair again, breathing hard, like the admission had knocked something loose in him. I didn't plan this, he said, but I won't pretend anymore. She didn't answer right away, not because she didn't feel it, but because something finally made sense. I've always been predictable, her inward voice admitted. Safe choices, sensible decisions, the version of me that never leaps. Predictability had protected her. It had kept her steady. It had also kept her from risk, from romance, from moments like this. She looked up at him. Can I tell you why I agreed to this? She asked softly. He nodded immediately. Whatever she says, his inward voice braced. Accept it. I've spent most of my life choosing what makes sense, she said. What's logical, what's expected. She gave a small, self-aware smile. I'm very predictable. He watched her closely. That's discipline, he realized, not weakness. And when this came up, she continued, every part of me said no, because this wasn't safe. It wasn't guaranteed. It wasn't reasonable. Her heart raced. Don't back out now. But for once, she said, I didn't want the predictable answer. Her voice softened. I wanted to know who I'd be if I took a risk. Something tightened in his chest. A woman who chooses risk after restraint. This was risky, she admitted. Romantic. Unreasonable. Everything I normally avoid. She met his eyes. And that's exactly why I said yes. She chose this, his inward voice said. She didn't fall into it. I didn't know what this would become, she went on. I just knew that if I didn't take this chance, I'd spend my life wondering who I could have been if I'd been brave once. He stepped closer now, reverent. She's intentional, he realized, not reckless. And now, she whispered, I'm still here. The ocean rolled beneath them, steady and indifferent. This will be tested. Both of them felt it. And neither of them moved away. Honestly, I felt like I was supposed to do this. I was supposed to marry you. You strike me as a spreadsheet before emotions kind of man. He chuckled, guilty, then softer. I thought it would be easy. Her smile faded just a little. And now, he met her gaze fully this time. Now it's anything but. She swallowed, teasing but curious. Is that a complaint? No, he said quickly. Then, slower, honest. It's a problem, because I didn't plan for you. She raised an eyebrow. Oh, so I'm a disruption? He smiled. A beautiful one. She laughed, shaking her head. You're dangerously smooth. Only when I mean it, he replied. They swayed together, closer now, the ocean humming beneath them. So, he said, mirroring her earlier tone, can I ask you something? She nodded. Fair is fair. Why did you agree? She hesitated, her voice softer when she spoke. I thought maybe, if I stopped fighting life so hard, it would meet me halfway. He studied her face. Did it? She looked up at the sky, then back at him. I think it's starting to. His thumb brushed lightly over her hand. You don't look like someone who settles, he said quietly. I'm not, she replied. That landed. He pulled her a little closer, careful, respectful. I agreed to this marriage because I was tired of feeling alone in rooms full of people, he admitted. And I didn't expect to feel seen. Her breath caught. That's exactly how I feel, she thought. She smiled softly. You know, she teased gently. This is the part where people usually pretend they don't care. He smirked. I tried that. Didn't work. They laughed quietly, foreheads nearly touching now, the waves rolling endlessly beneath them, the stars watching patiently above. This is dangerous, she whispered again. He smiled, unafraid. I know. And this time, neither of them joked about it. They kept swaying, slow and unhurried, the music low, the ocean filling the spaces where words didn't need to rush. She glanced up at him again, eyes thoughtful now, playful but searching. So, she said, tilting her head, what do you actually do? He smiled. That's your polite way of asking what kind of powerful man you married? She laughed. No, that's my way of asking what keeps you up at night. That caught him. I'm a tech CEO, he said. Infrastructure, systems, platforms people don't think about until they stop working. She nodded slowly. So, you build invisible things that hold everything together. He looked at her, impressed. That's a better description than I usually give. She grinned. I'm good with words. I'm noticing, he said. They rocked gently with the waves, the deck creaking softly beneath their feet. He studied her face for a moment, then asked, what about you? What do you want to do? She hesitated. Not because she didn't know the answer, but because she always felt silly saying it out loud. I want an art studio, a real art studio with art supplies, he said. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful dream, and you deserve this. You deserve your own studio. He didn't laugh, didn't interrupt, just waited. She gasped at the confession and her breath caught. He noticed immediately and his heart fluttered. A sense of pride and warmth came over him. A real one, she continued. Light pouring in, big windows, paint everywhere, messy floors, a place where people can come and feel something, create, heal. She shrugged, half smiling. I know it's not practical. He tilted his head. Why do you think that? She sighed softly. Because it doesn't sound safe, or guaranteed, or impressive. He stopped swaying for half a second, just enough to look at her fully. Does it make you happy? Yes, she said without hesitation. More than anything. Then it's practical, he replied. She blinked. That's not how the world works. Maybe not, he said quietly, but it's how people work. She laughed softly, a little vulnerable now. Most people tell me to pick something smarter. He smiled, brushing his thumb lightly against her hand. Most people don't know what lights you up. Her chest tightened. Why does he see me like this? And you? She teased gently. Does building systems make you happy? He thought for a moment. It makes me feel useful, he admitted. But this, he gestured around them, the ocean, the music, her. This feels alive. She smiled. Careful, you're starting to sound like an artist. He smirked. Don't tell my board. They laughed together, still swaying under the stars, two very different worlds brushing up against each other, not clashing, just curious. And for the first time, neither of them felt like their dream was too much. They moved together slowly, the deck steady beneath their feet, the ocean rolling below in deep, patient breaths. The waves whispered against the hull, steady and unbothered, as if the sea had already accepted them exactly where they were. She looked up at him again, curiosity softening her smile. So, she said, brushing her thumb lightly against his hand, when you say you're a tech CEO, what does that actually mean? He chuckled. That means I usually give people a vague answer and change the subject. Try me, she said. I can handle it. He glanced out at the water, gathering his thoughts. I build systems, he said slowly. Not apps people scroll through for 5 minutes. Infrastructure. Platforms that move data, money, communication. Things companies rely on but never really see. She nodded, listening closely. My job, he continued, is making sure everything works when no one is paying attention, and fixing it when everything breaks at once. That sounds exhausting, she said gently. It is, he admitted. I spend most of my time solving problems before they happen, predicting risk, managing teams across different time zones, making decisions that affect thousands of people I'll never meet. She looked up at him, eyes warmer now. That's a lot of responsibility. He shrugged. It teaches you control, precision. You don't leave room for emotion because emotion complicates outcomes. She smiled knowingly. And yet, here you are. He laughed softly. Exactly. They swayed again, closer now, the music folding into the sound of the waves. I live in meetings, he went on. Boardrooms, airports, hotels that all look the same. Everything measured in metrics and deadlines. He paused, then added quietly, you start to forget what it feels like to just exist. Her chest tightened. No wonder he looks so relieved right now. So this, she said softly, gesturing around them, is you not optimizing anything. He smiled at her. This is me doing something with no return on investment. She laughed. That might be the most rebellious thing you've said all night. Don't tell my investors, he teased. Then more honestly, I agreed to this marriage because it felt like structure, like something I could manage. And now? She asked. He met her eyes. Now it feels like life. She let that sit for a moment before asking gently, does it make you happy? He thought longer this time. It makes me powerful, he said. But this, his voice lowered, this makes me human. Her breath caught. And you, he said, turning the focus back to her. You want an art studio. She nodded. I do. With light and mess and no spreadsheets, he teased. She smiled. Exactly. He squeezed her hand. You build things too, he said, just not the kind people know how to quantify. They continued to sway, the ocean breathing beneath them, the waves rolling in slow and steady, carrying the weight of everything he had been holding in for far too long. The music softened, almost disappearing into the sound of the water. I like my job, he said quietly. I really do. It was very fulfilling at first. He paused, his grip on her hand tightening just slightly. But honestly, now I'm not so sure. She looked up at him, listening. It can be lonely, he admitted. I work 16-hour days, sometimes nights. I lie awake trying to sleep, but my mind doesn't stop. He let out a slow breath. I'm always thinking. Strategies, plans, how to make the company better, how to survive. She felt her chest tighten. With the economy going up and down, I'm constantly maneuvering, he continued, trying to stay ahead, trying to protect the company. There's so much critical thinking, problem solving, pressure, making sure the board is pleased, making sure everything doesn't fall apart. He shook his head slightly. It's a lot. She squeezed his hand. That sounds exhausting. It is, he said, and it's lonely. The word hung between them, heavier than anything else he'd said. He hesitated, then looked at her fully. I agreed to this because... He exhaled, almost laughing at himself. Because one look at you, and I just knew there was something about you. Her breath caught. When my father mentioned it, I was completely against the idea, he went on. I didn't want this. I didn't want a marriage arranged on logic. He shook his head again. But then I saw your photo. She looked away briefly, overwhelmed, and then, on the last day of their honeymoon, Adriano Castellano's phone rang. Once, then again. On the third ring, he picked up. Pronto, Adriano Key, he said in Italian. "Hello, Adriano here." At first, he barely reacted. He glanced at the screen with the same ease he'd carried all night, thumb hovering like he might ignore it. His shoulders were still loose, his stance open. For half a second, it looked like he was going to let the world wait. Then he saw the name. Something in his body changed before he moved. His spine straightened, his shoulders squared. The softness drained from his posture like it had been physically pulled out of him. He let out a slow, controlled sigh. "What the hell?" he muttered under his breath. Then his eyes sharpened, attention snapping inward like shutters closing on a window. He stepped away, already bracing himself, already shifting gears. "Not now," he told himself. "But this can't wait." He answered fully, and the Italian came fast, too fast, sharp, clipped. Each word precise, controlled, edged with restraint. His tone became more calculated, more focused. She watched his face more than she listened. The pleasant smile didn't just fade, it shut down completely. His jaw set hard, a muscle jumping beneath the skin. His eyes darkened, focus narrowing until nothing existed but the voice on the other end of the line. His free hand curled slowly into a fist, then loosened, then clenched again, like he was counting breaths instead of seconds. "He's restraining himself," she said to herself, not reacting. She didn't interrupt. She simply stayed close, watching him with soft eyes, ready to support him when he needed it. He paced, but not wildly. Each step measured, heel to toe, back and forth in a tight line, like he was walking the perimeter of a problem only he could see. When his voice rose, it wasn't loud. It was sharpened, deliberate, precise. Then one sentence cut through the air. "Ma sei impazzito? Non è pronto. Vuoi buttare il prodotto sul mercato così?" He stopped walking, just stopped. His shoulders went still. His head dipped slightly, eyes closing for half a second, like he was pulling the anger inward instead of letting it loose. When he spoke again, his voice dropped lower, controlled and dangerous. "This is not ready," he said in English. "You don't release a product like this." A chill moved through her chest. This wasn't a man losing control. This was a man taking it back. 45 minutes passed like this. Long silences where he listened, eyes unfocused as he processed faster than the words were coming. Then bursts of speech, final and precise. He rubbed the bridge of his nose once, hard, like he was fighting a headache or the urge to say something unforgivable. When the call finally ended, he didn't turn to her right away. He stood still, feet planted shoulder-width apart, staring out at the water. His chest rose and fell slowly, deliberately, like breathing itself required intention now. One hand rested at his hip. The other flexed at his side. "Stay calm," he told himself. "Don't bring this to her like a storm." She watched his eyes. They were distant, focused inward, already 10 moves ahead. "Adriano," she said softly. He didn't respond. "Come here," she said again, quieter, steadier. That cut through. He turned. His focus returned. He walked back to her, hesitation flickering for half a second before he closed the distance. She wrapped her arms around him and guided him down gently. He sat, then leaned forward, resting his head in her lap. The intimacy of the gesture surprised even him. His shoulders dropped. His body finally let go. She began to massage his shoulders slowly. He closed his eyes, taking deep breaths, allowing himself to relax, to remember, to sink into the safety of the moment between them. At first, his body had been stiff, reflexive. Then something in him finally gave. He squeezed her tighter, instinctive and protective, his breath shifting against her. "I love you," he said quietly. Her heart stuttered. She pulled back just enough to look into his eyes, her hands still resting on him. "What did you say?" she asked softly. "I love you," he repeated, steady and sure. She smiled, warmth flooding her face. "I love you too, Adriano," she said. The confession settled between them, quiet but electric. Both of their hearts fluttered, not with chaos, but recognition, like something long held, had finally been spoken aloud. For a moment, the world felt suspended again. Then he inhaled, steadied, and lifted his head. "When we get back," he said calmly, "I have to call an emergency board meeting. This needs to be resolved quickly. I don't want this affecting our stock price or unsettling our investors." This wasn't panic. This was leadership switching on. They disembarked the yacht quietly. The crew lowered the ramp, securing lines with practiced efficiency. Adriano stepped onto the dock first, posture already aligned. He turned back and extended his hand. She took it. The driver stood beside the waiting car, door already open. Adriano nodded once in thanks as she stepped inside. He followed, the door closing with a soft, final sound. The car pulled away smoothly. City lights stretched ahead of them, reflections sliding across the glass and over his jaw. Without looking, his hand moved to her waist, resting there firmly and protectively, thumb settling like a quiet promise. She leaned slightly into the touch. "This is how he protects," she said to herself, not loudly, not for show, just by staying close. His grip tightened just a fraction as the car merged into traffic. "Keep her steady," he told himself. "Handle everything else." The city grew taller around them, glass and steel rising as they approached the tower. Silence filled the space, not uncomfortable, just charged. "This is the life I chose," she whispered to herself. "Not comfort. Consequence." He inhaled once, slow and deliberate, like he was locking something into place. "End this clean," he said to himself. "Fast, decisive. This won't take long," he said calmly, "but it has to be done right." "I know," she replied. He glanced at her briefly, eyes softening for a heartbeat, his hand still warm at her waist. Then he turned toward her, slowly and deliberately, choosing the moment. He kissed her softly at first, unhurried and intentional. The kiss deepened gently, not rushed, not hungry. A kiss of promise, a beginning. Her breath caught as she leaned into him, the world narrowing to the quiet certainty between them. For a second, everything else faded. He pulled back just enough to rest his forehead against hers. Steady again, grounded again. "This is where we begin," they whispered to themselves. The car turned into the entrance of the penthouse tower, and whatever waited above them was no longer theoretical.